Hello and welcome to DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11 or Razzle11 Grinds on Twitter, bringing to you kind of a first look idea of the pitching on this strange Sunday slate. Say strange just because the pitching options are very unappealing. We'll put it that way. So yeah, let's dive in here right away. I think the obvious plays on the slate are definitely Jeffrey Springs. I don't really think I need to say all that much about Springs against Detroit. Detroit was atrocious against left-handed pitching last year. Springs had a monster spring. Was given a contract extension as well. So he just feels like the top option on a slate full of not so amazing options overall. So this is one I'm definitely going to go with, and I'm probably going to end up overweight, even though I expect him to be fairly popular. I'm going to lump a couple pitchers in together here. Two guys that I'm looking to fade. Chris Bassett. Wasn't the sharpest this spring, and I don't necessarily like the matchup against St. Louis all that much. So I think there's better spots to use him. So I don't really want to spend the 8,800. And then Jordan Montgomery in that same game. The reason I lump these two together is I'm a big fan of both. If you've read the full count article I wrote this morning, I point out that I think both guys are actually extremely strong pitchers overall. But the matchups themselves just do not lend themselves to be positive in this situation. The Blue Jays have seen Montgomery quite a bit, obviously, since he came over from New York. And guys like Bo Bichette have absolutely dominated him. So that gives us a couple guys that we want to fade up on the higher end. And it kind of is going to force us to end up with guys... like this next one, Graham ASHCRAFT. Had elite strikeouts all spring. Looked like he was taking a leap forward. There's a lot of discussion about the new three-headed monster with the Reds with Green, Lodolo, and ASHCRAFT. I'll be honest, looking at the end of last year, he was atrocious. So there is some concern, but he's taking on Pittsburgh, and we know how bad the Pittsburgh lineup is overall. And as you can see, he did go 6 2/3 and strike out 8 against Pittsburgh last season. He did allow quite a few base runners, but if he's going to strike out a bunch at his price point, I think we can live with that. Another guy here, Jared Schuster. Interesting name, lefty. Came up with Strider, so they've been linked together. Those of you in the sports card world know that Schuster Strider kind of slide together in packs of Bowman. With that said, he actually looked really strong this spring. Solid K numbers. As you can see, last year, he finished with an ERA of 3.29, 145 Ks in 139 minor league innings, which tells me, he's going to be strong. He held hitters to an average of 115 this spring, over 18 2/3. And then he gets the Washington lineup. And the weather in Washington is definitely favorable for pitching. I'm still waiting to see what I expect for an innings number from Schuster. But at 5,300 on DraftKings, I don't think it really matters. Because, he just doesn't have to go deep for us to be rewarded with that play. Somebody that I actually generally love to use, and I'm not going to go with a full fade, on Joe Ryan. I am going to go a little bit underweight. The big reason is that the weather in Kansas City is set up for hitting, really. It's one of the best atmospheres today for hitters with the wind blowing out. So that's just going to lead me to being pretty low on Ryan, even though last year he went 4-0 with 26 strikeouts in 24 innings against the Royals. So seeing those kind of numbers, it is worrisome. But we realized that he had an ERA over 4 on the road last year. So maybe that kind of comes into play, and we're not punished for going underweight or even fading. If you wanted to fade, I'm not going to talk you out of it. As a Twins fan, I will have a couple shares of Ryan just because I can't get away from my fandom. And, sorry, one other name that I am considering right now is going to be Jameson TAILLON. Had a pretty strong spring for the Cubs, and I think the Milwaukee lineup is going to struggle a decent chunk of time, and I think TAILLON has a chance to kind of build off of what the Cubs starters have done the first 2 games. Stroman was extremely strong, and Steele was spectacular, who was one of my top plays on site yesterday. If you were a member, you noticed that he was actually a core play. I think TAILLON can build on that and continue. I think the weather is slightly better in Chicago, but I'm going to rock with TAILLON as one of my main spend-up pitchers on the slate, which seems really weird. Just such a strange slate for pitching, unfortunately. Well, with that said, that's today's look at pitching options. If you are not a DFS Army member, right now we are running a promotion, 50% off your first month using the code opening day, and I believe that runs through Easter. You can hit the link in the description and it'll send you right to it. And if you could hit the like on the video, that really helps us out here, helps me out, allows me to keep bringing you free content on a daily basis. So that said, let's get it done today. Good luck.